to render this awful regime incapable of using its military power, that's a worthy goal.
And there it is. This is the moment.
This decision to launch this operation was based on a cumulative effect of various direct threats that Iran posed to the United States of America, and the president's feeling based on fact that Iran does pose an imminent and direct threat.
I've said repeatedly since the first briefing over 10 days ago, there was no imminent threat to the United States that I believe would constitute putting our sailors and soldiers in harm's way.
Well, was Iran a threat to the U.S. or not? Joining us tonight to talk about this and the situation in the Middle East is former Secretary of State, former National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice. Secretary Rice, thanks for being here. You know, we have these polls out about Iran, national security threat. Most people who answer these polls, it's 61% yes, 38% no. This is the banter back and forth, even as obviously the military operation is being characterized as being very successful, and we have markers on that. What's your thoughts about where we are right now and where we may be headed?
Well, the most important thing, Brett, and thank you for having me, but the most important thing is to recognize that Iran has been at war with us for at least 47 years, all the way from 1979. People may forget. They took our embassy hostage 444 days. They were responsible for the killings of 300 plus Marines in Lebanon in the early 1980s. If you ask people about Iraq, what was the source of many of our casualties in Iraq, you'll get estimates as high as 75 or 80% of them were due to Iranian-made roadside bombs. And so they've been at war for us a long time. They also have developed the military capability to have reach outside of the boundaries of Iran, including Hezbollah and Hamas, which they both arm and equip and continue to arm and equip even after the events of the summer. And I myself negotiated 4 Security Council resolutions calling them a threat to international peace and security under Chapter 7, the strongest chapter of the UN Security Council resolutions, because of their nuclear ambitions. So to say that this regime was not a threat, I think is simply not, it's ahistorical. They have been a threat for a long time.
You know, you can praise completely the military's action, its effectiveness, how precise it is, the amazing things we're seeing every day of the U.S. military and the Israeli military, for that matter, while still raising questions about how long is this going to last? Is it worth the blood and treasure that we're doing currently? You know, another poll, the handling of Iran, does it make us safer, less safe? No difference. Less safe is at 51%. So there is this skittishness or skepticism out there, even if you're wholeheartedly supporting what the military is doing every day.
It's a great question,
because there is uncertainty with any military operation and what the aftermath might be. But I think if the goal of the administration is to render Iran incapable of using its military forces outside of its borders, of threatening our neighbors, our allies, of threatening our bases abroad, which we're seeing they are capable of doing. If it is trying to deny them a conventional umbrella for their nuclear ambitions, that is a worthy goal. Now, what comes after? People are, of course, concerned about that. But if you can render Iran essentially incapable of military action against us and against our allies, that's worthy. And I think what they're trying to do is to neuter Iran as a military power in the region.
Absolutely. This is what they're doing. That's definitely what needs to happen here. There really isn't much of a deep thought that needs to kind of go into this here. In fact, most of the casualties that definitely came in the war of Iraq specifically did come from things that were being made in Iran. Hezbollah does exist, guys. The Houthis are still kind of pretty much functioning off the coast of Yemen, targeting our ships consistently, guys. They have, in fact, been at war with us for nearly 50 years. She's right here, right? That's it. So we need to do something about this eventually. And it seems like right now is the time to basically do the things because we are basically there.
And by the way, the Iranians, who I think made a strategic blunder in attacking the Gulf states like the UAE
Yep, that was stupid.
or Kuwait or others is demonstrating that it is its goal to be a destabilizing force in the Middle East. Yes, you can still be concerned about what may come after. Can still be concerned about the uncertainties of warfare, but to render this awful regime incapable of using its military power, that's a worthy goal.
There's, talk about not restricting what the military may or may not do going forward. You've obviously been through this with wars as National Security Advisor, as Secretary of State, the mission creep fear. Now there's talk and reports about the Kurds possibly arming the Iranian Kurds and being a force on the ground. Your thoughts about that, knowing all you know about that region?
This came out yesterday.
Well, the one thing I don't know is the nature of these reports that we're hearing about Kurdish incursions, if you will, into Iranian territory. And we probably ought to be circumspect about making judgments about what that really means in terms of Kurdish activity. Is it independent Kurdish activity? Is it somehow coordinated Kurdish activity? Right. We'll learn those things later. But it does speak to the complicated demographics of Iran, and we have to keep that in mind. The Iranian population includes a large Azeri population. It includes a large Kurdish population. Those populations have been all the Iranian people have been badly treated by their regime, but there have been a lot of suppressions of those ethnic groups. So we do have to be aware that Iran is not a homogeneous population. It's also a population of over 90 million people on territory that's twice the size of Texas. So it's going to be a complicated set of circumstances here as we go forward.
I think the majority of people that are looking at this are pretty much fully aware that it's not the people. Because generally when it comes down to, oh, this country is bad, it has nothing really to do a lot of the times with the actual people themselves. The people are just people. They're trying to live and survive and feed their family. Basically do the same thing that everyone else is trying to do around the world, just slightly different, let's just say this year. The regimes or the people that are actually in the positions of power have the ability to absolutely be detrimental to the health and future and safety of the people in these countries, guys. And Iran is definitely one of these factors here. That is the reality here. The regime is terrible. And the fact that they are now targeting the countries that are surrounding them because American military bases or embassies are there, that's a little bit idiotic. And that's not even like that. No matter of fact, that's a lot of bit idiotic here because, guys, listen. So now you have all of the countries surrounding you, pummeling you, along with the United States of America pummeling you. Like, this is not even intelligent now, guys. Like, this is not like a tactician-based type of battle. This is just absolute idiocy. You cannot take on the world, Iran. Let's be honest here. You can't. Be glad that Europe is basically sitting on their hands, guys. Just be glad.
Talk about this decision by a commander-in-chief to do what President Trump has done and what that means big picture in the world looking at it.
Well, I think you have to see this as a series, really, of events, starting with October 7th, when Iran demonstrated that it probably wasn't possible to deter their tentacles like Hamas. I'm quite certain that October 7th and Hamas could not have happened without Iranian training and equipment, maybe even planning. And then, of course, you had the events of June when the administration decided, along with the Israelis, to try and at least degrade and maybe even seriously set back Iranian nuclear capabilities. In order to do that, they were able to suppress Iranian air defenses. And so Iran is in a sense, defenseless then. And then you see that the Iranians are rebuilding their nuclear capability, that they're rearming Hamas and Hezbollah, and that they are essentially at this moment defenseless. They won't always be defenseless. And so the decision is to really at this point take care of it and render them incapable of those activities. So I see it as a series of decisions. I do think that
bold
it's
ones.
Big ones, but a worthy goal. Of course, we'll have to watch and see. But I do think that the question of making sure that you don't get mission creep is an important one. Taking care of Iranian military operations, military capabilities is very important. The other thing that this does do is it, particularly if you can do something about the security forces in Iran, maybe it opens the possibilities for the Iranian people themselves to try to determine their own future. But we're a long way from that.
So understand, we're kind of coming off of even the talks with Mohammad Morandi, referring to the English literature professor coming from the University of Tehran. Like that is the overall regime. The regime still exists, even though the supreme leader is deceased, guys. You have to get rid of all of that stuff. Like if you want the people of Iran to basically have the ability to kind of, do things for themselves, become absolutely amazingly productive members of society, not saying that they aren't, understand people are generally good by default. It's the leadership that is generally garbage. Once you get rid of what is holding the people down, I do believe that they can flourish, but you're also now creating a vacuum, and vacuums get filled by someone. In that region, there are a good amount of people that will fill that region that are not amazing also, right? Not referring to like the Gulf states, because generally they're semi-decent. Pakistan is a little bit troubling sometimes here, guys. I mean, a couple more places even. So hopefully whoever is filling it has the ability to change the overall sentiment, specifically of the regime enablers, referring to Mohammad Morandi. If you can fix that, okay, then we could probably go somewhere. But as long as there are people like Mohammad Morandi moving around, I'm not saying nothing needs to happen to him. Just understand this here. I'm not saying that. As long as that sentiment is allowed to basically exist, then there's no chance for the people of Iran. Understand that here. Yeah, getting rid of the military, right? Making it so they're basically defenseless. Sure. I get where you're going here, but who will protect this sovereign nation? It's not going to be us, right? Who's going to protect that sovereign nation? You have to get rid of the ideology, and ideology generally cannot just be wiped out by the idea of war, right? Like it's something that persists. There are some places that are that have been incredibly terrible to people, certain groups of people, whatever, right? Just because you say something needs to stop doesn't mean that it actually stops indefinitely. There will still be pockets of places that still kind of foster the environment of being hateful, let's say, to groups of people. You have to fix it with like education or something, and that's not something that's going to be fixed under any circumstance in a war. Right? It goes deeper. Yeah, getting rid of the actual force that is threatening the planet, sure. But what happens to the people after? That's my main concern here. I agree fully. Iran should not have any type of nuclear weapons. Iran should not have the ability to basically torment their neighbors. Guys, let's just be honest here. They should not be doing this at all. All of their proxies should absolutely be erased, if that makes any sense here. Specifically, if they're being used under the guise of subverting their religious doctrine whenever it is needed to prove a point, let's say this year. Once you can do that, then yeah, I'm sure the conversation is going to be super valid, my guys, right? But there definitely needs to be some type of education also kind of brought in almost immediately. I'm not saying re-education. Guys, everything sounds terrible. I fully back the idea of self-defense. Like, listen, I carry all day long. I'm not joking here, bro. Right? So I understand. I get it. You stop that threat and then you can figure out the stuff later. But I do think that the conversation needs to start happening, kind of what happens to Iranians after the military force is completely neutered.